Bumper to Bumper is the name of the show. Top 5 at 5 will be coming up top of the hour and might be a little bit shortened because we're slightly behind schedule. We want to do justice to another apparently good treasure trove of Dr. Dan's inbox entries. And Mayo Clinic Big Knocker Bill Maurice will join at somewhere in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Guardsy, let's get it started.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Every Thursday, right around 4:30, thanks to Wedding Day Diamonds. Thank you, Wedding Day Diamonds. Dear Dr. Dan, I wish everyone would just calm down. Sure, I tested positive for COVID. Sure, I didn't follow any of the protocols for the unvaccinated. Sure, I told everyone I was immunized in an interview earlier this year, but we're forgetting who I am and where I play. I milked the Life is a Beautiful Mystery campaign for damn near a year. I already leveraged the media to make the Packers look bad during the offseason. I even got D. Adams involved in the bit. And now I have COVID and will miss at least one game. Dan, nothing I do is an accident. Once the rest of the world sees Jay Love out on the field, a giant contract extension for yours truly can't be far behind. And once that gets done, I wouldn't be surprised if I was named GM in charge of the draft within a week. So everyone just RELAX and enjoy the ride. Eventually, the world will come to understand that while they're playing checkers, I'm playing chess. Or is it Jeopardy? Sincerely, A. Rodgers.
Well, here's what's interesting. There are a couple people via the Bradshaw and Bryan inbox have suggested that A. Rodgers has a very different intent here. That this was all part of a master plan to ultimately undermine and ruin the Green Bay Packers season. That's what it's all about. That he wants to sabotage the entire organization.
That's thick.
It's beyond thick because the guy who would look the worst if that happens is A-Rod. So I'm not sure I buy that conspiracy theory. The one offered via the emailer, maybe there is something there.
I kind of like it.
RELAX. My fantasy's not going to happen, is it? The fantasy that Goody just pounds away at A-Rod after A-Rod just hammered him and just says, hey, we're just having a heart-to-heart. You want what is really on my mind? What's on my mind is that the whole season might come to a screeching halt because our leader, our quarterback, not only didn't get the vaccine, but kind of sort of pretended he did to take the pressure off himself. That's not very presidential, A-Rod.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
We get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, I understand that P. Fleck landed a contract extension this week. I have to assume there's a form or something I can fill out to also cash in as a former U of M coach. If so, please don't forward to any Mexico gas stations as I will not be stopping to refill my rental car tank. R. Patino.
Haven't heard from him in a while.
I was surprised you didn't make the R. Patino contract extension cheap shot yesterday.
I didn't. Well, I believe it or not, even I occasionally try to be a bit judicious and say, all right, I've gone to that joke 26 times. Maybe 27 is a bridge too far.
I think it was sitting there on the Stone Arch
Bridge. To be honest
Bridge.
with you, I kind of did forget it. I have used it so rarely lately that I kind of forgot about it. Do we have any knowledge on whether R. Patino's New Mexico contract is as rich and creative when it comes to incentive bonuses as the one he had here was?
Oh, I bet it's pretty good.
Think it's pretty good?
Yeah, I bet it's pretty good.
Didn't he tell us he negotiates his own?
Yeah, he does not have an agent.
He literally does not have an agent.
No, he may have somebody look at him.
Right.
But he does not have an agent.
Wow.
His dad, I think, told him that. Said, don't let him take your money. It was worked out pretty well for him.
Well, I think his dad would have been fine even if his agent's got like 6% or 4% or
Never
whatever
enough.
The percentage is.
Never enough.
Apparently not.
You can't buy that nice.
Is his dad? By the way, is his dad back at Iona this year?
Yeah.
As far as we no reason to think he wouldn't be.
Oh yeah.
Big time recruiting class.
Probably.
Yeah, wouldn't shock me.
Had him in the tournament last year.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
We got a lot of variations of this one. It's kind of a quickie.
We get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, just heard that G. Bradbury has tested positive for COVID. Maybe this is a question for the big knocker. Can that be transferred through butt sweat? K. Cousins.
I wondered if there might be a butt sweat illusion.
Oh, we
or
didn't miss
two.
that. We did not miss the butt sweat.
Yeah, and for those who don't remember, Kay Cousins was complaining or observing, maybe he wasn't meaning it as a complaint, that, as a guy who has to have his hands under the center's butt when he's at the line of scrimmage, that apparently this was a training camp observation.
Right away.
Almost immediately, that as a rookie, that G. Bradbury had apparently a very sweaty butt. And they even talked about the various measures taken to try to address that particular situation. I'm guessing part of the reason it hasn't come up as much recently is there are bigger issues as it pertains to G. Bradbury as a blocker that might have made the whole butt sweat thing rather academic and almost seeming trivial.
What I'll always remember about the butt sweat incident was that how bitter Bradbury was about it, because I don't think he was briefed on it.
No, he wasn't ready for it.
No pun intended. I don't
And the
think
Jackals waited for him.
and they waited for him, and he was coming off the field.
Yeah, well, the way they didn't wait for A. Rodgers, they loaded up on, and they didn't mess around. They smelled blood with G. Bradbury, and he's going, what'd I do?
I'm just trying to make the
I just
team here my
got
rookie
here.
year.
I'm sorry I have a perspiration problem.
It's humid in
It's
Minnesota.
steamy in
It's
Minnesota
August.
in August.
I felt bad for him about that.
I think we all did.
Because Cousins was just trying to have some fun with them. I think
Correct.
the Jackals just wanted a funny notebook item, and Bradbury was not there to play.
That is correct.
He was not there
It's
to play.
time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, let's say there is a football team that has impressive stats, like being first in the NFL in sacks and seventh in the NFL in yards, but their record is 3-4. You don't think ownership will diagnose the problem as a coaching issue, do you? I normally wouldn't go to a doctor with this question, but my seat is on fire, and it is concerning me, M. Zimmer.
Well, that's what we're all trying to figure out. I think we perceive the seat as very hot. But the great unknown is how the Wilfs feel about that particular seat. And I'm going to tell you, I still will be surprised if a move is made during the season. I won't be shocked if it's made after, but I will still be surprised if it's made during the season. Now, the X factor is, I guess, what Matt Burke alluded to with PA. They go to Baltimore and not just lose, but get destroyed. In conjunction with what took place this last week, might that be enough for the Wilfs to be just annoyed enough to say, Andre Patterson, we're putting you in charge on an interim basis, and in the offseason, we're going to do a deep dive on what direction we might like to try to go in. And then you know what I would do? I'd start planting Mike Tomlin rumors just to get him going, and then just wait for one of the Pittsburgh writers to have to ask Tomlin about whether he has any interest in moving from the Pittsburgh Steelers to his former team, the Minnesota Vikings.
Come on back. It'd be great.
Love to have him.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, last night I was babysitting my grandkids. They were naughty, so I placed them on timeout. When I let them out of timeout, started acting up again, so I called another timeout. They complained, saying it's against the rules to call back-to-back timeouts. Who's right, Dr. Dan? M. Zimmer.
Well, as we said, it wasn't a full pelf by Zim, right?
It started as a full pelf and then retreated.
Then he retreated with, well, they're really not supposed to. They're supposed to ignore me.
And somebody yelled at me.
When a coach does something that stupid, they're supposed to just ignore that stupidity and say, well, you can't call the timeout. And in the end, it ended up being, I don't know, a half pelf. And as you added, he also said, well, somebody yelled it out. Have we established, was it Tahi? Was Tahi the guy in the
It could have
sidelines
been.
who yelled out, you need a timeout there? We've seen that formation
It could
before.
have been the metaphorical ghost of Nafahu Tahi.
Yeah, very true. That's a red flag, man. There's not any question about it. That's the sort of thing that cannot happen. And I'm guessing if you're the Wilfs, you have to be every bit as concerned about the Zim explanation for the chaos at the end of the first half, because he basically said, "Well, no, Cousins can do it. He can call up. It's a communication problem." He had really no answer for that at all, other than there was a complete and utter screw up. And when that stuff starts, I guess you could say, multiplying, with a veteran coach who's been here for more than a minute, the red flags do indeed go up.
It's time for Dr. Dan's Inbox.
Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day.
Dear Dr. Dan, nothing gives me greater pleasure than having a controversial post-game handshake. It all started when I was a linebacker for Iowa back in the 1990s. I'll always fondly remember following my going for two chart, went up 25 points in Q4, beating T. Brewster's led G Gophers 41-23 on that hot October day back in 2010. This clearly led to his demise as he lost his head coaching job the following week. I don't believe I ever lost to the G Gophers as a head coach. I clearly own them. As you may know, I've been working on filling out my figure in recent years. After an exhaustive walk to midfield to accost P. Fleck after we beat them Saturday, where can I go find a nice all-you-can-eat buffet to replenish myself? I own Minnesota. Bielema. This is the one I was laughing about when you came in.
Well, yeah, I retweeted the Gopher Hole tweet that.
God, how are we supposed to go on after that?
I don't know. I'm just amazed by it. That we've probably been more fixated on that Bielema photo than any show in the country.
Spring break, like 2010.
It's a spring break shot of him in a Speedo. Well, it's
More or
really not
less.
intended to be a Speedo, but it ends up almost becoming a Speedo because of his body shape. And it's now back, and he is now back. What is the early line on him? The team has been very uneven.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've had a couple of embarrassing losses, and then they shocked the world by beating Penn State and Penn State.
Yeah.
What did they do the next week? They lost again, didn't they?
They lost. I think they just lost to Rutgers at home or Maryland at home. One of the two.
Because Maryland was Indiana was Maryland, so it must have been Rutgers. I think.
Okay.
In any case, I don't have an early line on. We love having him here because in the conference, just because he's good copy.
Yes.
He's entertaining as hell. Is he too early? Has he given any bulletin board material to the Gophers and/or PJ? Is he an anti-PJ guy to our knowledge?
No, he actually said something along the lines of Coach Fleck and I probably couldn't be any more different as people, but I respect what he's doing at Minnesota.
Oh, okay. So he's very careful
Very
about
complimentary.
not being turned into he's bad, I'm good.
Correct.
Okay. I hope he lasts a while.
I
Because
think he will.
it didn't end well in Arkansas, right?
It did not.
No.
It did not. You want me to do another one?
What's up to you? I mean, as a pregnant pause.
Well, because I sent the ones to Zach. Now I'm getting the late entries here.
I see. I'm the idiot.
I think we can probably end it there.
Oh, all right.
I know. It was very anticlimactic.
That really was.
Well, I don't want to force one and then have it end on a dud. I mean, we had the Bielema thing, and
Yeah.
that was pretty good.
Bielema was good.
So I kind of like that.
We'll end it there. We'll remind you that Mayo Clinic Big Knocker Bill Maurice will join 5:15. We still haven't found Sean Salisbury.
Yeah.
So he might, like you said, my guess is he dozed off because he does do morning show, has a big morning show in Houston. But I hope we can get him back in the mix, if not tomorrow, certainly next week as well, because this would have been a good week to chat with him about the current condition of his favorite football team, the Minnesota Vikings, and some other stuff, Aaron Rodgers included. But happens every once in a while. Let's come back and talk about what in the top 5.
NFL, Vikings, Aaron Rodgers updates, Timberwolves. Was Karl Anthony Towns hacked, or was it the first sign that he wants out of Minnesota?
It's time for Dr. Dan.
That's totally my fault.
Eastbound 94, construction causing a backup at Hamlin to Marion. That's a look at traffic. I'm Dylan on the Fan.
I wanted an education that would actually prepare me for the real world. That's why I chose Hamlin University. From top internships to hands-on research projects, Hamlin gave me the head start I needed. Visit hamlin.edu today.